Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. This week, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced that he's unveiling a new website called California Facts, where he's going to combat lies and misinformation about California. What is it? A big old mirror that he gets to look in every single day? Coming up, we'll share with you the website, and I will issue a fact-based response to Governor Gavin Newsom's gaslighting and lies. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. And I have always looked at Gavin Newsom with some amazement, not at his accomplishments, because he's inept and he does not have accomplishments. He's always been handed things on a silver platter. He's a very entitled, privileged guy. I'm amazed by his ability to outright lie. And a lot of it has to deal with the fact that the California liberal media does not hold him nor other Democrat politicians accountable for lies, gaslighting. They're part of the cover-up, actually. And they never hold them accountable for their failings of leadership, character, or administration of government programs. And so this week, when he launched the website, California Facts, and I'll share with you in a moment his website, we're going to just decimate some of the things that he's put on that website. I was breathless because does he actually believe this crap? I don't think he does. Someone has to actually know that they are lying. He does it so well, but maybe he's got a mental illness. Maybe we've got to start having that be part of the conversation, that we have a governor who is pathologically unhinged from reality, either because of mental illness or because of some sort of very, very sinister character disorder. I think we are at that point where we can actually legitimately start that piece of the conversation. This is not just a politician exaggerating or trying to dodge. He's an outright shameless liar. So it's either a pathological element or it is some sort of mental illness here. And so that is what we're going to start raising time and time again, because I think it's now legitimately part of the conversation. Is he pathological or is he mentally ill? Because you can't get the statements that he's been making and come to any other conclusion. Before we move on and I share with you the website, please join our fight. At Reform California, we are the ones fighting. We are the rebellion. We're fighting at the grassroots level to take back our state. And as I've been sharing with you in recent weeks, we've been racking up some important wins. But we can't do this work without you. And so do a couple things. Go to reformcalifornia.org. That's ground zero, our headquarters on the internet for everything that we're doing, all of our campaigns, all the candidates we're recruiting and training, all of our activities, and of course, more importantly, our Doge California efforts to fact check and to expose the problems, the waste, fraud, abuse, corruption in state government. We actually have a campaign up there called Expose Gavin Newsom, because you and I both know this guy is running for president. Not only do we have to expose him for his failures because he's currently the governor and he has several years left on his term and he's doing damage every day, we need to expose him because he is running for president and we must save our country from his mental illness or his pathological inability to tell the truth. And of course, his overall ineptitude. Go to that website, sign up at the bottom, first name, last name, zip code, email, and phone number. That tethers you into our growing movement. You'll get updates every Friday on what we're doing in the state of California to fight back. But also, please consider chipping in a contribution. We can do none of this work without the support of individual grassroots supporters like you. So chip in a contribution if you can. So Governor Gavin Newsom is out there saying that he is going to launch a website. He's already launched it. We just launched a new website to call out misinformation machine that consistently spews lies about California. You're launching a new site. Is that basically the mirror site of the governor's site? Because that would be pretty helpful. We're the fourth largest economy in the world, baby. Our population continues to grow. And we're done letting the trolls define the Golden State. We're going on the offense and fighting back with facts. You like my hair? Handsome devil, aren't I? So he calls it CaliforniaFacts.com. Now, like his podcast, I don't think anyone's going to be checking out this website. It's a stunt. His podcast viewership is dismally low, and rightfully so. And CaliforniaFacts.com, no one's going to be going there because the guy just doesn't have credibility. The joke's on him. But he launches this website, and the notion is that everything is hunky-dory in California. Now, in a previous podcast last week, I decimated his fourth largest economy in the world, brag, as, okay, you can measure an economy by GDP, but it's a very misleading measure. China has a big GDP, but most of Chinese people, the vast majority of them, like 80% of them, are living in dire poverty in the rural areas. And so we went through all the bad economic facts, how California is dead last for job creation, how California has the highest cost of living in the nation, how Californians are struggling to live, the highest percentage of the population of any state that can't meet basic needs. I mean, all of the economic data for California is atrociously bad, and it's all heading in the wrong direction. But no, everything's good because our GDP number is the fourth largest in the world. Our population continues to grow thanks to the illegal immigration that you're allowing into the state, and that's provable. That's a provable statement. When you look at domestic migration, U.S. citizens are fleeing the state of California. And remember, when they started fleeing back in 2014, 2016, 2018, and we were at Reform California pointing that out, Newsom back then said, no, you're lying, we're growing. Then the census came. Wah, wah, wah. We lose a congressional seat. Everyone knows that people have one foot out the door, and that in the past 2 years, things have kind of stabilized a bit, but only with the illegal immigration. Now that Trump has secured the border, you're going to see another year, probably next year, of massive decline in population in California because Newsom doesn't have more illegals to restock the cupboard, if you will. So I'm looking forward to those numbers coming out next year now that we have a secure border with President Trump. But let me go through just a reminder. Just in the last 2 weeks, Newsom said, I've never said Latinx. This is the guy saying that he's the purveyor of truth, the defender of all factual information. This is from his own podcast.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
where did that even
No
go?
more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about?
What are people talking about? Don't even know where it came from. Okay. So let's go ahead and, the guy who says no one in my office has ever said Latinx, I don't even know where that came from. What are we talking about? I don't even know what the term is. Here we go.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
We can't ban the word Latinx, a word that I have never used in my life. I've never said it. And by the way, those are just little samples. He's consistently done that. Used Latinx, which no Latino even doesn't even understand what the term means. They're like, Latinx, I'm Latino. Most of them say, I'm American, rightfully so. Then, of course, you've got the gaslighting on gas prices, energy prices. This is Newsom a couple years ago, launching one of his latest investigations into why are the gas prices so high? I don't know, which is, by the way, his sixth investigation in his administration that he's announced. No reports have ever come out. He always announces, I'm going to investigate why the gas and oil prices are so high. It's price gouging, I tell you. And the media laps it up, gives them all sorts of credit.
Screwing you. They're taking advantage of you because they think they can get away with it. And what we're trying to do is say, enough.
Governor Newsom wants a penalty for what he calls oil company price gouging. He's alleging that oil...
They're screwing you. They think they're going to get away with it. Misinformation. They're screwing you. They think they can get away with it. It absolutely describes Gavin Newsom and California Democrats. They've been screwing you repeatedly. They've been lying to you, and they continue to get away with it because the liberal media refuses to call them out. All right, here it is. Here's the website, californiafacts.com. First, he says, false claim. People are fleeing California. In fact, our population is growing. No, Governor, it's not growing. For the past decade, population has shrunk dramatically. We've lost a congressional seat. The census shows that we have been in decline. First time since the founding of the state in the 1850s that our population has been in net decline. Only in the last 18 months have we seen, and this is the last 18 months as of recorded, so it'd be the last 2 years of the Biden administration, with record numbers of illegal immigrants coming into California to get free welfare. Only then did we stabilize. So the only way he can make the claim that, oh, our population is growing, yeah, in the last 2 years of the Biden administration, when we had this record off the charts migration from outside of this country, where domestic migration was still flowing across the country. No, California's smelt fish policy did not lead to LA wildfires. No. What was the actual claim? The actual claim was Mike Lee saying that Delta smelt plays a role in the fire disaster that occurred. What I think Lee is referring to is the lack of water in the reservoir. Remember, Newsom said, "Oh no, there was ample water." Then he was called out for the fact the reservoir had no water. So he fired off a memo saying, "I want an audit. I want an investigation. Why is there no water? I'm going to get the answers. We're going to get to the bottom of this." That was 3 months ago in January, 3.5 months ago in January. He dropped it like a lead weight. Yes, I would argue that Lee is correct to the extent to which there was not water in that reservoir. Yes, water policy had an impact on our ability to respond, or mismanagement of water policy had an impact on our ability to respond. It's not the driving issue, but I don't even think Lee is suggesting that. He's saying the entirety of incompetence in California, from poor forest management to homeless in the canyons that light fires, to the fact that we don't allow for defensive burns, defensible space. All of these things have made us the highest risk state and the most mismanaged state when it comes to wildfire. That's a true statement, and that was what he was highlighting. False claim, California isn't raking the forest to control wildfires. No, I put in $2 billion. Not enough, Governor. The governor says, we've been raking the forests. Okay, just because you did an acre does not mean that you have done all 1 million acres that are still completely overgrown. And that is the criticism, proper, correct, accurate criticism of your failure as an administration to properly thin the forests. Just because you can say, well, we've done a few of them does not mean that you can claim that you're doing a proper job, getting the job done of raking the forests. That's the criticism, and it is accurate. The shoe fits, wear it. California did not cut firefighting budgets months before LA wildfires. Yeah, actually, they did. Here's the quote from Fox News. Governor Newsom cut the state fire budget by $100 million months before the lethal California fires. That is actually provably true. He cut it by $100 million. What he's claiming is, well, since 2019, it's way up, and we've doubled staffing since 2019. Okay, not all of those were firefighters. A lot of the increase has been overhead and pension and salary increases. But the argument that Fox News was making is that you had started cutting that budget in the months leading up to the fires, and that is an accurate statement. You're calling it a falsehood. It's actually true. April 10th, no, the military did not enter California to turn in the water. I don't even know what Trump's tweet was about, so I'll give a pass on that. Californians pay lower electricity bills than Florida and Texas, despite claims. Again, I'm not sure where he's getting his data, but it's absolutely provably false. We actually pay higher rates than the average rates paid for by Florida and Texas, as well as higher rates than the national average. Only Hawaii in certain elements has higher rates than we do, but most of the time we actually have higher rates than any other state in the nation. Californians, this is the Transparency Foundation report, paid 67.1% more for electricity and 30.1% more for natural gas than the national average in 2022. This is a report last year. Right now it's double per kilowatt hour. And so Newsom is just a liar when it comes to our electricity rates. Oh, you have no problem with your electricity rates. They're so affordable. Oh my goodness, we are so cheap in this state. By the way, the Transparency Foundation has another report out with more recent money, with more recent data on 2023 cost of living. And this it basically goes through all of the cost of living of an average household budget. And it shows by the numbers that a California resident has to pay substantially more for their cost of living than the national average. It's absolutely insane for Governor Gavin Newsom to claim somehow that we are a low-cost state and that you should be happy about it. Transparency Foundation shows $28,037.28 cost of living penalty on the typical middle-class family. Inflation is 5.9% faster in California than the national average, and that's even with the national average being pretty bad. And then go down here. All of the elements of cost of living, housing, gas, food, water, healthcare, state and local taxes, childcare, electricity costs, car insurance, all higher. And of course, electricity costs, 101%, double. That's for the last year. Again, this guy is just a liar. False claim. California has open borders that let anyone into the state. Bitch, please. Are you going to claim somehow that you're some angel when it comes to combating illegal immigration? You are dangling all these welfare handouts at taxpayer expense to illegal immigrants to induce them and incite them, to incentivize them to come across the border. You are the number one marketer for the coyotes, cartels, and human traffickers in the entire world. The state of California's budget, the giveaways that you're financing in the state budget each and every day with taxpayer money, incentivizes illegal immigration. Again, I had to go through this website just to share with you some of the pathetic fact checks. This is the best this guy has to offer. What are the facts? Number one, we have the highest cost of living in every category. $28,000 for a typical family of four who's middle class to live in the state of California. That's insane. We have a crime wave on our hands. We have the most homeless of any state in the nation. 12% of the population, 55% of the nation's unhoused homeless population. We've spent a record $24 billion since Newsom took office. Most of that money cannot be audited or tracked as to where it went. And our homelessness problem has continued to skyrocket by double digit and triple digits since he took office. Our schools, we're paying more per pupil each and every year, throwing more and more money at the problem. Per student, $28,000 per student. That's just on the state side because there's a lot of local monies going to schools as well. So we're probably cresting $30,000 per student, per pupil. And yet we're at the bottom of the pack when it comes to academic achievement. By every measure, we are a failed state. Governor Newsom is a failed governor. And yet this guy wants to try to put lipstick on the pig and convince you somehow that things are all great. And anyone who criticizes is a liar or spreading misinformation. Man, the media in this state, they should be having a field day punishing this son of a bitch. But they won't. No, they won't. Because this is their guy. And to admit that their guy is a failure, that they have failed to provide proper vetting, accountability, and oversight over elected officials here, shows that they are not really journalists, not really doing their job. Look, at the end of the day, we are going to need every single bit of help in this fight to expose Governor Gavin Newsom because he is running for president. This website is just yet another bit of evidence that he's running for president. He needs to try to clean up his mess here in California, put out a bunch of misinformation as though he's somehow the victim of lies. That's what he's trying to present. He's the victim of smears, untrue smears. Well, we've got the receipts, Governor. And we're going to continue to provide the American people and California voters with the receipts to hold you accountable and make sure you never get elected to any sort of office into the future. Please join our fight. Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org. Sign up at the bottom of that website. Chip in a contribution. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California State Representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.